At the start of the movie, we meet 9-year-old Emma Grossman, who quietly watches a cat struggling in a fountain outside her bedroom window. Instead of reacting, she simply closes the blinds and continues getting ready for the day, showing no sign of concern. Emma lives with her widowed father, David Grossman. She is intelligent, polite, and one of the top students in her class. But there is something unusual about her. She rarely shows any real emotion. During breakfast, Emma tells David that she is determined to win the school's citizenship award, a prize given to the student who demonstrates kindness and good character. Their conversation is interrupted by Emma's aunt, Angela, who introduces David to a new babysitter after the previous one was involved in an unfortunate incident. While they are talking, Emma casually points out the cat that has now died in the fountain. David retrieves it, but Emma remains completely unaffected by what happened. Later that day at school, a wasp flies into the classroom, sending the other children into a panic. While everyone else backs away, Emma calmly traps the insect inside a glass and releases it outside, impressing both her classmates and teacher. At the same time, David interviews a babysitter named Chloe. Impressed by her experience and personality, he decides to hire her. Chloe also appears to take a personal interest in David. Back at school, Emma's classmate Katie accidentally bumps into her while playing. Emma politely helps Katie up, and their teacher notices the kind gesture. It seems as though Emma is making a conscious effort to appear compassionate, possibly to improve her chances of winning the citizenship award. That evening, Emma stands in front of a mirror practicing different smiles, as if trying to perfect the expression. The next day is finally the award ceremony. David proudly takes Emma to school, where students and parents gather for the announcement. To Emma's surprise, the award goes to another student named Milo. Emma is deeply disappointed. On the drive home, David tries to comfort her, but Emma insists that she deserved the award instead. She even begins speaking negatively about Milo before quickly apologizing after noticing David's disapproving expression. Sometime later, when no one else is around, Emma convinces Milo to follow her to a nearby cliff with a beautiful view. After a brief conversation, Emma quietly steps closer to him, and the scene suddenly cuts away. Later that evening, Milo's worried parents ask Emma if she has seen him. Without hesitation, she calmly says she hasn't seen him since the earlier school gathering. Moments later, several children run toward the adults in panic after discovering that Milo has fallen from the cliff into the ocean. His father desperately tries to save him, but despite every effort, Milo does not survive. The following morning, David gently asks Emma how she feels about losing her friend. To his surprise, she barely acknowledges what happened and behaves as if nothing has changed. Soon afterward, Chloe officially begins working as Emma's babysitter. One evening, while David is away, Emma catches Chloe inside David's bedroom, secretly taking some of his medication. Later, while they are watching a movie together, Emma confronts her about what she saw. She tells Chloe she will keep the secret, but only if Chloe agrees to do exactly what she asks. Emma then orders Chloe to go out and buy her ice cream. Although Chloe is clearly annoyed by Emma's attitude, she reluctantly agrees. The next day, everyone gathers for Milo's memorial service. Family members, friends, and classmates are overwhelmed with emotion, but Emma remains completely expressionless. While speaking with Milo's parents, David learns that Milo's Citizenship Award medal has disappeared. Everyone assumes it was lost near the ocean. Only then does Emma suddenly begin crying, almost as if she realizes it's the expected reaction. Her emotions seem forced rather than genuine. After returning home, David becomes increasingly concerned about his daughter's unusual behavior. While putting away Emma's laundry, he discovers Milo's missing medal hidden beneath her mattress. Shocked, he starts looking through photos taken on the day of the award ceremony and notices several pictures showing Emma staring intensely at Milo after the winner was announced. For the first time, David begins to wonder if there is more to Milo's tragic accident than anyone realized. Later that day, Emma's teacher, Mrs. Ellis, arrives at the house with a police officer to discuss the ongoing investigation. Mrs. Ellis explains that someone reported seeing Emma with Milo near the cliff shortly before the incident. Listening from behind the door, Emma realizes what is happening. She deliberately knocks over a vase and pretends to injure herself, immediately drawing everyone's attention. Concerned for her well-being, Mrs. Ellis and the officer decide to leave. As David treats Emma's minor injury, he carefully asks whether she had been with Milo that day. Emma firmly denies it. When David mentions that Mrs. Ellis believes otherwise, Emma suddenly becomes defensive and insists that her teacher has always disliked her. The following day, Chloe visits the workshop where David is working and asks if she can smoke there. David quickly refuses, explaining that the area contains highly flammable materials, making it far too dangerous. Shortly afterward, Chloe takes Emma outside so she can ride her scooter along the quiet street. While riding her scooter with Chloe, they notice Mrs. Ellis's car parked outside Milo's house. She appears to be speaking with Milo's mother. Chloe quietly tells Emma that the adults are trying to figure out what really happened to Milo, and she believes Emma knows more than she's admitting. Emma, however, acts completely innocent and claims she has no idea what Chloe is talking about. After returning home, Chloe tries another approach. She warns Emma that if the truth ever comes out, there will be serious consequences. For a brief moment, Emma looks nervous, but she still refuses to admit anything. Later that day, Chloe searches the house looking for Emma. As she walks past the workshop, she notices something strange. The large wasp nest that had been hanging from the ceiling has mysteriously disappeared. Meanwhile, Mrs. Ellis leaves Milo's house and starts driving home. Suddenly, a wasp appears inside her car, distracting her just enough to lose control. The camera then reveals the missing wasp nest hidden on the back seat. Someone secretly placed it there, turning an ordinary drive into a deadly trap. Back at the house, Chloe discovers Milo's missing Citizenship Award medal hidden beneath Emma's mattress. Hoping the truth will finally come out, she places the medal on a lamp in David's bedroom, where he is certain to notice it. A short time later, Emma enters David's room and immediately spots the medal. She quickly removes it and hides it behind her back, but David catches her in the act. He takes Emma to her room and calmly asks where the medal came from. Without hesitation, Emma invents a story, claiming that Milo had given it to her while they were playing together. Confused and emotionally overwhelmed, David goes for a drive to clear his mind. Along the way, he notices a crashed vehicle on the side of the road. Deeply troubled by everything that has happened, he calls Angela and asks her to help arrange therapy for Emma. That night, David is haunted by disturbing dreams involving both Emma and Milo. The following morning, Emma confronts Chloe after realizing she was the one who placed the medal in David's room. Emma is furious, but before the argument can continue, David asks Emma to come with him. He takes her to Milo's house so she can return the medal to Milo's mother. Although surprised by its return, she gratefully accepts it. During the conversation, she also shares the heartbreaking news that Mrs. Ellis passed away after being involved in a tragic car accident. David is stunned by the news. Emma immediately begins crying, saying that Mrs. Ellis had been her favorite teacher. But on the drive home, her sadness disappears almost instantly as she casually starts talking about baking cookies with Chloe. The sudden shift in her emotions leaves David deeply unsettled. Later, while working in the workshop, David notices that the wasp nest is gone. The realization hits him, and he begins to suspect that Emma may have been connected to Mrs. Ellis's accident as well. The next day, Emma attends her first therapy session with Dr. March. After spending considerable time talking with Emma, the doctor tells David that she appears to be an ordinary child with no obvious signs of emotional problems. Emma has managed to leave even an experienced professional convinced that everything is normal. When they return home, David finds Chloe relaxing outside. He casually asks her to check on Emma while he finishes some work. As Chloe spends time with Emma, she teasingly tells the girl that David seemed interested in her earlier and jokes that she might one day become Emma's stepmother. Emma's expression changes immediately. Furious, she orders Chloe to stay away from her father. That night, Emma asks David whether he likes Chloe. David is caught off guard by the question. Emma even mentions Chloe's comment about becoming part of their family. Before David can properly explain the situation, he has to leave for an appointment, ending the conversation. Later that evening, Chloe hears an unusual sound while watching television. Thinking Emma may be playing outside, she searches the house but can't find her. Looking through the window, she notices movement inside the workshop and heads over to investigate. The moment Chloe steps inside, the door suddenly shuts behind her. She rushes to open it, only to discover that it has somehow been locked from the outside. Seconds later, a fire begins spreading across the floor, quickly surrounding the room. Through the window, Chloe catches a glimpse of Emma standing outside, silently watching everything unfold. She desperately tries to escape, but the flames spread too quickly, leaving her trapped. A while later, David returns home to find firefighters and emergency crews surrounding the property. They inform him that Chloe has lost her life in the fire. Emma has already been taken somewhere safe, and when David finally reaches her, he pulls her into a tight embrace, still struggling to understand everything that has happened. That night, David quietly sits beside Emma and gently asks her a question that has been haunting him. He tells her that no matter what happened, he wants to help her, but only if she tells him the truth. For the first time, Emma admits what happened to Milo. She calmly explains that she pushed him from the cliff because she believed he was going to tell others that she had taken his medal. She then casually adds that it won't happen again, speaking as if she has done nothing unusual. David is left completely speechless. Gathering the courage to ask one final question, he brings up Mrs. Levia, Emma's previous babysitter. Emma quietly admits that she caused her fall down the stairs because Mrs. Levia grabbed her arm. In Emma's mind, it wasn't her fault at all. She simply says the babysitter should have been more careful. As the conversation continues, Emma becomes increasingly hostile. When David asks about Chloe, Emma angrily insists that Chloe deserved what happened because she wanted to become her stepmother. David is left in shock. He can no longer ignore the frightening truth. His own daughter has admitted to causing several tragic events, yet she shows almost no remorse. The following morning, the town sheriff calls David and asks to speak with Emma. Fearing what might happen if she is questioned, David claims that she is unwell and cannot meet anyone. Instead, he takes Emma to their remote lakeside house, hoping to keep her away from the growing investigation. Their longtime housekeeper welcomes them upon arrival. Later that day, the sheriff contacts David again with new information. Investigators have determined that the fire was intentionally started, although they still have no idea who was responsible. Hearing this, David becomes even more anxious, knowing that the truth may eventually come to light. Inside the cabin, David notices a firearm he keeps there for protection. He stares at it several times, clearly struggling with an impossible decision as he desperately searches for a way to stop the nightmare unfolding around him. The next morning, while David is still asleep, Emma quietly enters his room and gently kisses him on the forehead, making the moment seem strangely affectionate. But moments later, she silently closes every window in the house and turns on the gas from the stove before calmly walking outside to sit by the lake. A short time later, David wakes up and immediately smells gas filling the cabin. Realizing the danger, he rushes to open the windows and shut everything off. Once the house is safe, he steps outside and sees Emma sitting peacefully by the water. In that instant, he realizes what she had tried to do. David walks over and calmly asks why she would do something like that. Emma casually replies that if anything happened to him, she would get to live with her Aunt Angela because, unlike him, Angela actually likes her. Her answer leaves David completely speechless. Trying to stay calm, David gently takes Emma back inside. Later, he is shown crushing his medication into a fine powder. He prepares 2 cups of hot chocolate, gives one to Emma, and the two quietly drink together before he tucks her into bed. Once Emma is asleep, David calls Angela and finally tells her everything he has discovered about Emma's disturbing behavior. Angela refuses to believe that a little girl could be responsible for so many terrible events. Heartbroken, David apologizes and quietly says that he feels he has no other choice, though he never explains exactly what he means. It is then revealed that David secretly mixed a dangerous amount of medication into Emma's drink, believing it was the only way to prevent any more innocent lives from being lost. But during the night, David suddenly wakes to a loud noise. Emma is standing in his room holding the firearm. The shot misses him, striking a pillow instead. Startled, David asks how she is still awake after drinking the hot chocolate. Emma calmly reveals that she switched their drinks without him noticing. Realizing the danger, David rushes toward her in an attempt to take the firearm away. Emma quickly grabs his phone, calls emergency services, and tells the operator that her father is trying to harm her. She then locks herself inside the bathroom while David desperately tries to reach her. In a panic, David forces the bathroom door open. Before he can say anything, the housekeeper arrives behind him carrying a rifle. Believing Emma is in immediate danger, the housekeeper fires at David. David collapses to the floor, fatally wounded, while Emma silently watches everything unfold without showing any visible emotion. Moments later, police officers arrive at the cabin and take control of the situation. The following morning, Aunt Angela reaches the lakeside house and comforts Emma. She sadly remarks that David must have been deeply troubled, never realizing the truth about what had really happened. The movie ends on one final chilling image. Emma hugs Angela like an innocent child, but as the camera lingers on her face, a quiet smile slowly appears, revealing that beneath her calm and innocent appearance, nothing has truly changed.